So let's talk about a feeling that I'm pretty sure we all know, that powerful, quiet urge to just stop trying. This is for anyone out there who's ever felt so tired or so overwhelmed that you're right on the edge of giving up on a goal, a dream, or maybe even just the day ahead. You know that feeling, right? Where you wake up, you look at your life, your to-do list, your big goals, and this little voice inside your head just goes, "Nope, I'm done. I quit." It's that moment when the idea of just walking away from it all sounds like the biggest relief in the world.
And it can feel exactly like this, can it? Like your own brain is literally sending you a resignation letter. The most important thing to get here is that this feeling is totally normal. It's a sign that you're running on empty, not that you failed. So maybe we need to rethink this whole never give up idea.
Okay, let's dive into this because that phrase, never give up, can actually be kind of toxic, right? It makes you picture someone who works like a machine, who never rests, never shows any weakness. But honestly, that is not a healthy or even a possible way to live. We get so caught up in this myth that we have to be relentless, that we have to hustle 24/7. But the reality is so much kinder, and you know what? It's way more effective. Real perseverance isn't about never slowing down. It's about making the choice to keep coming back even after you've taken a break. It's about being human, not a robot. And that brings us to a much better word, perseverance. See, perseverance is this quiet, long-term thing. It's the art of just staying on the path, even if you're moving at a snail's pace. You don't have to sprint. You just have to be willing to take the next step, and then the next one, when you're ready. And this is tied so closely to resilience. I want you to picture a tree in a big storm. It doesn't just stand there perfectly stiff. If it did, it would snap in half. No, it bends, it sways with the wind, but it doesn't break. Resilience is exactly that. It's our ability to be flexible when life gets tough, so we can stand tall again after the storm passes.
So if perseverance is really just about coming back, why does it feel so incredibly hard sometimes? Why do we get that overwhelming urge to just quit? Well, it's often because for a lot of us, life feels less like a casual walk and more like a constant uphill battle.
We're all facing these massive obstacles, right? These are like the big, heavy boulders in our path. Not enough time, money stress, health problems, a demanding job, taking care of family, studying for exams. Any one of these is tough, but a lot of us are juggling a few of them at the same time. And then, on top of those boulders, you get setbacks. A setback feels totally different. It feels like you're actually being pushed backward. You study for weeks and you still fail the test. Or you pour your heart into something and someone just leaves a harsh comment. It's that soul-crushing feeling of taking one step forward only to get knocked 2 steps back. So when you combine those constant obstacles with these painful setbacks, life really does start to feel like this, an exhausting, never-ending uphill battle. Every single step takes a huge amount of effort, you feel out of breath, and the top of the mountain just seems impossibly far away. And I really need you to hear this. If you feel this way, it is not a flaw in your character. It's not a sign that you're weak. It is simply a sign that you are tired. Your brain, your body, your heart, they're all just running on low battery. But here's the good news. You don't have to somehow find superhuman strength to keep going. Nope. Instead, there are these gentle, kind, and really practical ways you can move forward, even when you feel like stopping for good. We're going to look at 3 really important steps. First, we're going to talk about making the battle smaller. Second, we'll get into how to change the story you tell yourself. And third, a reminder that you don't have to do this all alone. So, step 1, make the battle smaller. When your goal feels as massive as an entire ocean, the thought of trying to swim the whole thing is just paralyzing. So don't even try. Instead, just commit to a tiny, tiny first step. Forget I have to study for 3 hours. How about I'm just going to listen to one short podcast, or I'm just going to read one single page. That's it. That's putting your feet in the water. All right, step 2 is about the battle that happens inside your own head. The words we say to ourselves can be so damaging. But look what happens when we just shift the language a little. It totally changes your perspective. Instead of, I'm stupid, it becomes, okay, this was a setback. What can I learn? This isn't about being fake positive. It's about protecting your motivation so you actually have the strength to keep trying. And that leads us perfectly into our third step. Sometimes, even when you've made the battle smaller and you're trying to be kinder to yourself, the weight is still too much. That's when you have to remember you don't have to carry it by yourself. Needing help doesn't mean you're useless. It just means you're tired. Reaching out to someone is an act of incredible strength. Okay, this brings us to one last really crucial idea. Sometimes the absolute smartest way to persevere has nothing to do with pushing harder down the same difficult road. It's about being wise enough to find a better one.
So many of us get stuck on this. We think that if we have to change our original plan, it means we've failed. We're giving up on the goal itself. But is that really true?
No, absolutely not. Being able to adapt your strategy when something clearly isn't working, that's not weakness. That's the definition of wisdom. It's being smart enough to realize the problem isn't your dream. It's the plan you're using to get there. Let's look at some real examples. Let's say your plan to study for 3 hours every night just leaves you exhausted and wanting to quit. The wise move isn't to force yourself, it's to switch to a sustainable 20 minutes a day. Or what if your method is a textbook that bores you to tears? The wise move is to find a video or a podcast you actually enjoy. See? In both of these cases, you are protecting the dream by fixing the plan. I just love this way of thinking about it. When you adapt your plan, you're not giving up. You're not crumpling up your dream and throwing it in the trash. You're just admitting that the first map you drew wasn't working, and you're drawing a new, smarter route to get where you want to go. So I'll leave you with this question to really think about. What goal, what dream in your life is so important to you that it's worth protecting, worth being flexible for, worth finding a new path for again and again? Because that is the true heart of not giving up on yourself.